All right, what's going on YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Quick prediction videos. All right, we got 3 fights, 3 different cards this weekend. DAZN, ESPN, Showtime. I definitely will be doing live commentary. It's just that I'm gonna have to try to prioritize. Hopefully they don't overlap too bad. You got Maloney against Franco in their trilogy. You have Ortiz against Kavaliauskas, and you also got Guillermo Rigondeaux against John Rio Casimero. All right, so I will be here. Hopefully they don't overlap. But this fight, this card here, DAZN, starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't know how many pre-fights they're gonna show, but hopefully this fight happens before the other 2 fights, which are later in the evening. All right, so we're gonna do a quick prediction. This is not gonna be a long, drawn-out breakdown, but I do really love the fight, and this is probably my favorite fight this weekend. This is definitely my favorite fight. You got Kavaliauskas against Vergil Ortiz Jr., the undefeated, young, hungry Vergil Ortiz Jr. that is just sweeping through the rankings. These are both high-ranking WBO fighters. Kavaliauskas only has 1 loss, suffered 1 loss against Terrence Bud Crawford. He's already bounced back, though. He's not coming off of that loss. He did fight Mikhail Suzuki. I seen the fight. He picked up a stoppage in that fight. All right, but before that, Bud lost. He was undefeated. Fought some good fighters. Fought Ray Robinson, who, you know, he had a draw with. His biggest win, probably leading up to that Bud fight, was the David Avanesian win, who recently beat Josh Kelly and stopped him. So, Kavaliauskas, real quick, before the Bud fight, and, you know, as far as what I felt about him going into that Bud fight, I thought he was a big puncher, just kind of coming forward, you know, flat-footed kind of guy. Could box well, right? But we was thinking more of his power, right? Not the technician counterpuncher that he was against Terrence Bud Crawford, the patient fighter. I did watch the fight, some of the fight the other day, and what I saw, what I took away from the Bud Crawford fight is that Kavaliauskas was a very patient fighter, and he was just waiting to counter Bud. Bud was the aggressor. He was coming forward, but Bud wasn't really doing much. He was just trying to get in range and not really probing his jab. And he got caught a few times, and then I believe that he got knocked down in the 3rd round. You know, the ref waved it off, said it wasn't a slip. You know, it is what it is. But Bud was hurt by that right hand. Bud was fighting as a lefty, inching in, and kept getting hit with big right hands. He got hit after that 3rd round too, but I think after that 3rd round, when we saw Bud in the 4th round, I think Bud, and we've seen in the past, when he gets hit hard or when he gets hit big with big shots, he get hurt a little bit, he usually gets pissed off. All right, he completely drew the game plan, the original game plan, out of the window, because I guess he took it as a surprise that Kavaliauskas chose to fight that way. And then he started taking a different approach. He started probing his jab and using his jab to get in range. But he was being very aggressive with that jab. He was slapping Kavaliauskas' lead hand down and shooting jabs above Kavaliauskas' lead hand. And he started being really aggressive. And that's how he used the closer range in on Kavaliauskas. Started putting a lot of pressure on him, started to beat him up, be very physical, and that's how he was able to get the stoppage later in that fight. All right? Now, with all that being said, Vergil Ortiz coming off of his biggest win against Maurice Hooker, you know, former champion, down at 140. The thing with that fight, and I was watching that again the other day, Vergil Ortiz was doing what he normally does. All right? He comes straight forward. He puts a lot of pressure on you. He throws a lot of punches. All right? A lot of pressure. But it's smart pressure. Usually high guard. He uses a high guard, comes in, parries a lot of shots. All right? Uses his gloves. Moves. He does move well, though. He does. He is light on his feet. He moves his upper body well. All right? He moves his head pretty well. But in this fight here, in Maurice Hooker fight, there was a couple rounds in there. Maybe I can't remember which rounds. Maybe the 3rd or 4th. Two of those middle rounds, I kind of gave the Hooker because Hooker was landing a lot of jabs, landing a lot of right hands as Ortiz was coming in, and Ortiz started to slow down the pace. But once Ortiz started to hook to the body a little bit more, that's how he was able to stop Maurice Hooker at some point. Maurice Hooker was stopped because of the injury on his hand. I believe he broke his hand, but he was able to drop Hooker, and then the hand injury is what injured the fight. But at that point, at that moment, Ortiz was in clear control of that fight. All right. So what I'm expecting in this fight here, I'm expecting Kavaliauskas to take the same approach as he did against Bud. He doesn't need to come after Vergil Ortiz. He doesn't need to. Ortiz is going to come after him. That's the way he's been consistently in his career. Ortiz is going to walk him down, throw a lot of punches, put a lot of pressure. What we need to get from Kavaliauskas is, yes, we need to get some of those same counters. He's not fighting the southpaw this time, all right? But we know he has big power, all right? He's a guy, he's lighter than, I think he moves, first of all, he moves much better than Maurice Hooker. And I believe that Kavaliauskas is a better fighter than Maurice Hooker, all right? You could debate that all you want. I know they have different dimensions. Maurice is a taller guy, a more rangier guy, longer arms and everything. But Kavaliauskas is a better counter puncher to me. He's a bigger puncher to me. And, you know, I think he, you know, fighting on his back foot, I think he was a little bit more defensive than a Maurice Hooker. All right. So I think he brings more dangers because of his power and because of his counter punching ability. So Ortiz is the guy that's going to be coming forward. He's going to be high, you know, keeping that tight, high guard. All right. He's going to be slipping shots, looking to counter him as well as he's coming in. And he's going to be looking to hook to the body. All right. He's going to be throwing a lot of jabs down low, downstairs too. Keep Kavaliauskas and break him down for the long run. All right. Kavaliauskas, what he needs to do, which we haven't seen much yet, we need to see him go to Ortiz's body as he's coming in. All right. Make him drop that guard. All right, so he can open up top. Ortiz can't be too reckless while he's coming in bringing the pressure, because he is fighting a guy that knows how to fight on his back foot and is powerful. So I'm expecting Ortiz to put pressure on Kavaliauskas. We've seen the blueprint already on how to beat him. All right, we haven't really quite seen the blueprint on how to beat Ortiz. I think the secret is maybe go to this kid's body, all right? Because coming up top, being a pressure fighter like that, I believe that he's pretty durable fighter, you know, to be that, you know, aggressive and coming in that way. I think he is a pretty good durable fighter. We noticed that, you know, Hooker hit him a lot. Didn't seem to really be bothered by too many of those shots. All right, so being that he fights that way, that's his style, let's go to his body. That's what Kavaliauskas need to do. Same thing with Ortiz. Ortiz is definitely going to go to his body because that's what we've seen him do. He's going to shoot the jabs to the body. He's going to hook to the body, slip shots, hooks, counter, and just keep putting that pressure. I did notice that Ortiz in the Hooker fight that's the first fight that I see. I've seen Ortiz fight a good amount of guys at this point. He fought... who did he fight? Brad Solomon. He fought, who did he fight recently? Samuel Vargas. He's fought a lot of guys. I haven't seen a guy really go to his body. All right. So I kind of want to see that from Kavaliauskas. We haven't really seen what he can do, but we know what he's going to do. And Kavaliauskas got to be prepared for that, because we've seen the pressure get to Kavaliauskas, and I'm expecting Ortiz to do it, but he's going to do it in a different way. He's not going to be probing jabs. He's not going to just jab him to death. He's not used to usually doing that, all right? He's more like a slip-in, parrying shots to get himself in range, right? So he can hook to the body. He's a you know, that's what he does. He's a little bit more fat. He's a little quicker than Kavaliauskas, but Kavaliauskas has good timing. So it's a very interesting fight, but I'm edging a little bit more towards Ortiz, because we already seen a blueprint on how to beat Kavaliauskas, and being that Ortiz is a pressure fighter, it's not similar to Bud, all right, but more of a body attacker than Bud is, all right, throws more punches, and, you know, just more aggressive, just in a different way. But I think he can do similar things that Bud did in that fight, and I see Ortiz stopping Kavaliauskas, maybe like an 8th round stoppage, 9th round stoppage. Now I don't see it any earlier than the 8th round though. You know, I think Kavaliauskas needs to slow down the pace, box, you know, but hit him with something that's gonna wake Ortiz up and say, hey, don't keep coming in my space. All right, that's what he needs to do. But I have Ortiz winning by a late stoppage, no earlier than the 8th round. But even if it goes to the cards, I see Ortiz winning as well. You know, overall, I see him Ortiz just winning this one. But Kavaliauskas is no slouch. He has power. He has to be careful. But I think Ortiz is better. All right. So anyway, that's my prediction. Make sure you be here Saturday for the commentary, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.